I'm your host, BrightLearn, and today we're embarking on a journey through time and climate, exploring a fascinating book titled Climates of Hunger, Mankind, and the World's Changing Weather by Reid A. Bryson and Thomas J. Murray. This isn't just a book about weather. It's a thrilling detective story that connects the dots between climate shifts and the rise and fall of civilizations. So, grab your thinking caps and let's get started. You know, when we think about history, we often focus on the big events, wars, revolutions, and the rise and fall of empires. But what if I told you that something as seemingly mundane as the weather could be the hidden force behind some of the most dramatic changes in human history? Bryson and Murray make a compelling case that climate has played a pivotal role in shaping our past, often in ways we've overlooked or misunderstood. Take, for example, the fall of Mycenae, a powerful civilization that dominated the Aegean and Mediterranean seas over 3,000 years ago. For years, historians have debated the reasons behind its sudden decline. Was it invasion? Internal strife? Bryson and Murray propose a different explanation: drought. They argue that a shift in weather patterns led to devastating droughts that crippled the Mycenaean economy and ultimately led to its collapse. And it's not just Mycenae. The authors connect climate shifts to the migration of the Hittites, the decline of the Harappan civilization in the Indus Valley, and many other historical events. They argue that by ignoring the influence of climate, we've been missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. What makes this book so intriguing is that it's written by two scientists who are part of a small but growing group of generalists. These are people who have the technical training of climatologists, but also a deep understanding of human history. They're able to connect the dots between climate and civilization in a way that few others can. Bryson and Murray aren't alone in their quest to understand the past through the lens of climate. They highlight the work of other pioneering climatologists like Paul Bergthorsen, who meticulously reconstructed the history of sea ice around Iceland, and Gordon Manley, who calibrated the old thermometers of England to give us a temperature record dating back to the 17th century. These scientists are like detectives, piecing together clues from the past to reveal the story of our changing climate. The 1970s were a wake-up call for many, as the world experienced a series of extreme weather events: droughts, floods, gales, and freeze-ups. These events had a profound impact on food production, leading to price inflation and even bankruptcy in some African nations. The authors argue that these climatic events were not just random occurrences, but part of a larger pattern that we need to understand. They point out that the world's population has been growing rapidly, and our ability to produce enough food to feed everyone is increasingly dependent on a stable climate. The Green Revolution of the late 1960s seemed to offer a solution, but since 1972, we've seen the international economy and world news strongly influenced by climatic events. The Soviet Union's massive grain purchases from the United States in 1972 and 1975, for example, were directly related to drought. Bryson and Murray delve into the science of climate change, explaining how small changes in temperature can have far-reaching effects. They discuss the concept of climatic fluctuations, and how even minor deviations from the normal climate can lead to lower crop yields. They emphasize that climate is not a static backdrop to human history, but a dynamic force that can change rapidly and significantly. The authors also highlight the importance of understanding past climates to predict future ones. They argue that by studying the climatic history of the past 1,000 years, we can gain insights into what might happen next. For example, they point out that the mid-20th century was not typical of the previous 1,000 years, and was even less typical of the past 1,000,000 years. One of the most fascinating parts of the book is the discussion of the Little Ice Age, a period of cooler temperatures that lasted from the 16th to the 19th century. This period had a profound impact on Europe and North America, leading to crop failures, famine, and social unrest. The authors describe how the advance of glaciers in the Alps and the expansion of sea ice in the North Atlantic were just some of the visible signs of this climatic shift. They also highlight the impact of the Little Ice Age on the Norse colonies in Greenland, which ultimately led to their demise. The authors argue that the cooling climate made it impossible for the colonies to sustain themselves, leading to starvation, disease, and eventual abandonment. The book concludes with a sobering look at the future. Bryson and Murray warn that our current climate, which we often take for granted, is not guaranteed to remain stable. They argue that we need to be prepared for the possibility of significant climate change and the challenges it will bring. They emphasize that climate change is not just a scientific issue, but a human one. The authors call for a new kind of critical, self-aware prophecy that takes into account the lessons of the past and the realities of the present. They urge us to recognize the risks and contingencies of climate change and to develop policies that can help us adapt to a changing world. And there you have it, folks. Climates of Hunger is a captivating exploration of the intricate relationship between climate and civilization. It's a book that challenges us to think differently about the past and to prepare for the future. As we face the challenges of climate change, we can learn a lot from the stories of Mycenae, the Little Ice Age, and the many other examples of climate's impact on human history. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time and climate. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And don't forget to tune in next time for more fascinating stories from the world of science and history. Until then, keep learning and stay curious.
This has been a BrightLearn video from BrightLearn.ai on the book Climates of Hunger, Mankind, and the World's Changing Weather by Reid A. Bryson and Thomas J. Murray. Visit BrightLearn.ai for more fascinating videos like this one, and visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage and breaking news on critical stories that keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.